Convention. We are the beneficiaries of what took place. What does that have to do with this election? It has everything to do with this election. It has everything to do with this election. I keep hearing that this candidate was a businessman and he's a leader and he knows how to make deals. Okay. I keep hearing about another candidate. He's a governor and he knew how to balance the budget. Then I hear about another candidate. Well, this guy is an expert on foreign policy, and another candidate. Ladies and gentlemen, without this, we cease to be America. We cease to be America. That's what this election's about. Our civil society is being devoured. The institutions of family, of faith, of the individual, of state sovereignty, of national sovereignty are being destroyed. They're being destroyed by the statists and the progressive movement, and they've been for the last century. And we've reached a point now where we're looking into the abyss. We're looking into the abyss. Barack Obama has moved us right to the abyss. We're looking over the cliff. This election is incredibly important. This isn't about whether somebody's a good businessman and knows how to build buildings, or somebody was a good governor and knows how to expand Medicaid, or anything of the sort. This is about the fundamentals. The fundamentals about liberty and the civil society and governance and what it is to be an American, what it is to be an exceptional people. That's what this election's about. And that's why it's so crucial. And here's the thing. Even if we elect a constitutional conservative as president, as you well know, I've endorsed Ted Cruz because I believe strongly that among all those on that stage, among all those running, Ted Cruz understands this more than any of the others. Ted Cruz understands this: the civil society, a constitutional republic, to fight for individual liberty. I know he doesn't know how to build buildings. I know he doesn't know how to expand Medicaid, and I don't much give a damn. But this election is even bigger than that. Even if we elect Ted Cruz, the most conservative person as President of the United States, our work's only just begun. There are now structural changes that have occurred to our constitutional system and our republic that these men would object to. The Constitution they developed is not the Constitution that we follow today. It's honored in the breach. In some ways, it's honored specifically. But in too many ways, it's rejected. It's rejected by the very people who take an oath to uphold it. Whether it's the President of the United States, whether it's members of Congress, whether it's Supreme Court justices in particular. We've moved so far away from this to where we are today. And it's been intentional, gradual, although it's speeding up. So this election is very, very crucial. But it's not enough. Even if we nominate, from my perspective, the one man in the race who understands this and get him elected president, don't get me wrong, that's a big achievement. In fact, in many ways it's daunting, but it's crucial. It's just not enough. You see, those men who met in Philadelphia, that Constitution they put together has another little provision in it called Article 5. Article 5 provides two processes for amending the Constitution. The framers of the Constitution knew that they created the very best governing document they could. But they also needed to have a way to adjust it. Not for the fun of it, not to destroy liberty, not to destroy the civil society, but to adjust it. Should the central government get out of control? Remember what I said, that was their greatest fear, centralized government. But they knew they needed some kind of centralized government. At first, Article 5 had a defect. It allowed for one way to amend the Constitution. In other words, the very people who would be oppressing, the very people in Congress and elsewhere in the federal government who would be abusing their power, they would be in control of whether or not to propose amendments to the Constitution. The Constitution's been amended 27 times in that process, 2/3 of both houses of Congress proposing amendments to the state legislatures or state convention, 3/4 of the states having to ratify. And so, on September 15, 1787, George Mason rises up. George Mason, as you know, the author of the Virginia Declaration of Rights. He rises up. He says, this isn't good enough, this Article 5. What if Congress should become tyrannical? What if the federal government's out of control? How will the people in the states be able to respond to that? And so he proposed that the states would have the power to get together. The states would have the power to get together, 2/3 of the states. And they would have the power to propose amendments, just like Congress would, with the same ratification process. All the state legislatures or convention of the states participating in order to ratify it. Today you would need 38 states. What I'm trying to say to you today is we must get behind the man who understands this. The American founding, individual liberty, the civil society, the limits of government, separation of powers, the Bill of Rights, and free market capitalism and private property rights, which these men and the men before them believe was essential, was an intricate part of a free society and a free people. But we need to do more. We need to rally. In addition to electing the most conservative man since Ronald Reagan to President of the United States, we need to push hard the state legislatures throughout this country